Hi everyone, Wenjie here from Utter Randomness. Today we are doing something a bit special. We are doing a deck tag. So this is the deck tag for my newest addition to my deck, which is Volo's Guide to Monsters. So I actually got both of the face cards. One is actually the showcase art, and the other one is actually the normal art. I didn't get it in foil because I really like it just normal. I don't really like it like foil and stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to the topic of what's in the deck. So of course we talk about the most important things first. So we do actually have the lands for the deck. So this is actually a budget deck, so most or if not all of the cards, from what I remember, does not cost more than $5 actually. So yeah, so we have the first land that I placed in, which was actually a artifact land, indestructible. And then we have the Evolving Wilds, our budget fetch land, Quandrix Campus, Path of Ancestry, Runewood Falls. So all the Simic dual budget lands I have placed in pretty much, rather than those others that come in tap but don't do anything much. Warp Landscape, Tornwood Falls, Terramorphic Expanse, Command Tower, and of course all the rest of the basics. So I believe I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 13 forest. Yeah. And then of course we will actually look at the sorceries and the instances. So these are actually the I would say the RAM cards that are in the deck. So it's either card draw or additional lands that is placed in per turn. So we have Cultivate, of course, Teaching of the Archaics, so card draw, Terramorph, another one that has land ram, Explosive Vegetation, land ram as well, Golden Ratio. See, this is actually one of the more better ones in the deck in terms of card draw for this, because for Volo's deck you actually have creatures, different creatures actually. So this will help you out if let's say the creatures are of very different power levels, basically like 2 power, 3 power and stuff like that. So if you have like 4 different powers, this actually draws you 4 cards already. Yeah. And then of course we have Regrowth, which is also another RAM card. Okay. And of course we have the counter spells. So we have the counter spells and the graveyard retrieval. Let's talk about the counter spells first. So we have the usual counter spells. We have Saw It Coming. So this is one card that recently came into Cow Time. This is actually a nice card to use as well, to surprise your opponents. And of course Arcane Denial, Negate, and the best counter spell ever, Counter Spell itself. Yeah, I mean not the best, but at a budget I guess this is one of the better ones. And then we have of course the Graveyard Retrievals. So this is actually important in terms of the deck mechanic, because Volos actually count creatures that are in the graveyard as well. They look into that as a consideration. So if let's say we do actually have overlapping creature types, we will want to try and bring them out of the graveyard so that it will not count them. So for this one, it actually does return creatures from the graveyard to the owner's hand, or if not, return creatures. No, this one actually return 2 things. It returns a target permanent to the owner's hand, and also return a target permanent from my graveyard to my hand. So it does 2 things. So I guess that's not too bad. You counter you counter your opponent's creatures and also or your own creatures as well. And then we have a Survivor's Bond. So return target human creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We don't really play humans in the deck, unfortunately. We only do actually non-human creatures. But of course, I believe if Shapeshifter enters the graveyard, I would believe that they count as all the different creature types. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, let me know. There is actually Changeling on part of the creatures arrangement, I believe. Let's take a look later on the creatures that I have in the deck. Of course, that are the essence of the deck. Since this is a Volo's deck, so we are actually looking at creatures of different types, so that you will get the most value out of Volos, of course. And then we have Evolution Charm, which also retrieves land from the deck. If let's say you are mana screwed, so you cannot find a land, this will help you out. Or if not, you can actually return creature from the graveyard as well, like I mentioned. Okay, and then of course one of the recent D&D cards, so we can actually search 2 basic lands for this. Or if not, we can actually return card from the graveyard to the hand, which also same thing helps the Volo's card at the end of the day. Okay, so that's the few. And of course, if you guys are interested in looking at what I have in this deck specifically, down to the cards, you can actually refer to the description below. I have actually placed the deck list down there, so you can actually take a look at that. And of course, if you guys have any budget solutions to my deck that could help make it better, feel free to drop your comments down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, of course. Alright, and of course, let's talk about enchantment. Enchantment we do actually have From Beyond. So inside this deck, I have just one Eldrazi. So in any case, if let's say the Eldrazi is already in the hand, then why not? I'll just keep it here as a mana solution. So basically, it will actually give us more mana as each upkeep goes. If let's say we do not touch the Eldrazi Scions, we can stack everything together and then we cast a big spell. Yeah, some of the creatures inside here are rather big, so it helps as well. And we have Shielding Plex. Shielding Plex will be actually one of the enchantment cards that I actually put inside there so that I can protect Volo. Because Volo is actually one of the main deck mechanic of this deck. So without Volo, technically the deck doesn't run that well as well. So we have to protect it as much as possible. So yeah, that's the one that helps it. And then of course we have Garruk's Uprising. So whenever the creature with power 4 or greater draw a card. So with this, if let's say we do put in a creature that has not been shown on the battlefield and in the graveyard and is actually of her power level 4 or greater, it will actually draw twice. So it's a good draw mechanic out of here as an enchantment basis. Yeah, and of course it gives my creatures trample, so yeah, why not? Okay, alright, now let's go to a few of the artifacts that I placed in. So we do actually have this is an artifact creature. Yeah, I don't know why I placed it here, but Crashing Drawbridge is one of a few cards that I think is not been noticed well. It's actually from Eldraine. This card actually taps to give creatures you control haste. So if let's say you are having a lot of creature heavy decks, I think this works very well. If let's say you are not in red, because red actually gives haste a lot, but if you are on other colors, this actually helps in giving creature haste. And that's all your creatures, by the way. It's not just one creature, target creature kind of thing. It gives every creature. So yeah, if you have a heavy board, I think that won't be too bad. And then of course I put in Crystal Shard, another mechanic, another artifact that bounce creatures to your hand. If let's say you want to actually get the ETB of the creature triggering Volo again. Yeah. And of course if you want to do that ETB, you must make sure that the copy is gone. So we will always try to get some cards that will sacrifice those creatures, but we'll talk about that later. So we have Tomot's Creep, another one that can get rid of your graveyard so that your trigger will not be affected if let's say the creature type is the same of what you want to cast. And then we have Vessel Endless Rest, same thing. A lot of removal from graveyard kind of thing. Want to prevent that creature from staying in the graveyard. So yeah. And of course this works also as a mana rock in any case. Not the best mana rock, but it's still a mana rock in a way. Okay. And then we have Swiftfoot Boots. So this is also to protect Volo in any case if let's say you want to do anything. And of course we have Combined Chrysalis. This is actually one of the ones that buff my creatures to make them all flying, because I create a lot of creature tokens with regards to the mechanics, because every creature that is copied, they are all tokens. So the creature tokens will all have flying, yeah, which makes it more difficult to block basically. And then of course we have Top Vessel. In view that if let's say I do a lot of card draw, the card overwhelms my hand, then I'll have a card that helps me with no maximum hand size. Yeah. And then we have of course the creatures of the deck. So for creature wise, we do actually have Lotus Cobra, we have that's a snake only, and then we have Elephant Worm. I believe I don't really have a lot of duplicate creatures lah. So most of the creatures here will be actually only just one card of that creature in the deck. Like the snake, the elephant worm, and worm there is two different ones. There is WURM and WORM. So of course they count as different creatures. So that's one thing that will help basically. And then we have Augmenter Pugilis. So as long as you control 8 or more lands, you get +5/+5. If you create a token of this, I think this is gonna be a very strong card. So 3 mana for 8/8. Yeah, very strong. And then of course we have echoing equation. Yeah, choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it, which I think is nice. If let's say I manage to cast the Eldrazi out, I can actually make everything the loop to be actually the Eldrazi. So yeah, why not, right? Okay. And then of course we have Kelpie Guide. Kelpie Guide actually help me tap or untap creatures. So in any case, if let's say I do actually tap or untap permanent, my apologies, not even creatures, untap permanents. So basically I can actually do a tap for my opponent so that I can actually prevent certain blocks to be done. Yeah. And of course we have Mercurial Pretender. Mercurial Pretender is one of the shapeshifter that I can actually make a copy of the creature. So one of the mechanics about shapeshifter is that because it's actually a shapeshifter, when you cast it down, when you make it into a copy, on the battlefield it will be actually another creature type and it will not be a shapeshifter. And with that, it will cast a trigger with regards to that, and it will actually a different creature type. So hence it will make a copy. So at the end of the day, if let's say both of your shapeshifter and the shapeshifter copy turns into another creature, you can actually cast another shapeshifter and it will still be able to make itself another copy, because Volo sees that there is no other creature type that is a shapeshifter on the board, because they have actually turned into other creature types. So yeah, one of the things about shapeshifter lah. Yeah. In any case, I play a few shapeshifters in here, so that's why I have a few graveyard removals and stuff like that, so that it can actually continue to trigger on in any case if it's been removed and put to the graveyard. Yeah. So we have first Mercurial Pretender, and then of course we have a Suvan Shapeshifter. We have Clone. This is all shapeshifter deck creatures basically. So yeah. And then of course we have Squirrels. So we are playing Simic colors, so normally our land drop wouldn't be that bad. So if we have 8 lands, we actually have a 2 mana 4/4 which can be cast and copied again. So I think it isn't too bad actually. Quite a bit of value actually in that case. And then of course we have Junk Winder. This has affinity for tokens, so like I say, we do actually have a bit of focus in tokens, so this will help in terms of that. So this Junk Winder will help in the token arrangements. And then of course Sweet Gum Recluse. Yeah, so Sweet Gum Recluse is actually one of the few with Cascade, and it actually puts +1/+1 counters of any number of target creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. So of course when it actually enters the battlefield, it counts itself as 1, and of course the copy as well. So both of them will come with actually a +3/+3, and if anything that gets cascaded, they will also get +3/+3, because the trigger will trigger after this cascade has been done. Yeah, okay. So yeah, a bit of good value I think in any case here. And then of course we have some creatures that can destroy artifact and enchantments. So this is our target removal kind of thing inside the deck. So Acidic Slime destroys target artifact, enchantment, or land even. So if I cast it, I will copy it and you'll actually do another trigger. And of course we have a Storm type Leviathan. So this is actually a very big creature. Of course, as a copy, it will actually be very well. And creatures without flying or island walk can't attack. So with the trigger of the combined Chrysalis, it will actually help with all the creatures being able to attack because they all have flying. Yeah, so yep. And then of course Scavenging Ooze, same thing. It can actually remove graveyard, so by removing that, it will actually help with the copying of creatures on my deck. And then we have Owlbear. Of course this is just a little addition, nothing too fancy, just a little addition because it actually has a different creature type. And then of course we have Karuga. This is also one of the card draw mechanics. Of course it's a legendary creature, however even if the copy enters the battlefield, it triggers the effect first of the card draw, so I still get to draw a bit of cards. So this deck has a fair bit of card draw mechanics in a sense. Of course we have Reclamation Sage. This is also something that destroys artifacts and enchantment. Same thing, when we cast it, if it copies, it will destroy 2 things. So not too bad, 3 mana to destroy 2 artifacts or enchantments. And then we have Prosperous Innkeeper. This is actually a card that creates 2 tokens of treasures, since it actually copies itself, and I don't have any other halfling citizen in the deck actually, so yeah. And of course the Eldrazi of the deck. So we have Desolation Twin. So technically, right, if let's say it's actually being cast, so with this cast it will actually be 40 power with 10 mana. Yeah, can imagine 40 power with 10 mana. Crazy, right? And of course we have another one that has Graveyard Retrieval, so that we have them away from the graveyard. I mean, I don't have really a lot of creatures that are duplicated, but yeah, same thing. Clockwork Archivist does the same arrangements. So you pay 2 mana and you put a target card from the graveyard to the bottom of the owner's library. Of course, I mean, you do not necessarily have to remove your own graveyard. Sometimes if let's say you find that opponent's graveyard has something that they can actually bring back out, you can actually put it into their deck back, so that you can prevent them from doing anything about it. And then of course we have Reef Wings Cloudscape. So for this one, you can return permanents back to your hand. This is good also for certain ETBs if let's say I want to actually sacrifice other things. We have Reason Reef. Reason Reef is actually also another one that has a bit of card ramp in a sense, because when you cast it, you will actually make a copy, so you have 2 elementals entering the battlefield, so you can actually look at the top 2 cards of your library technically. Yeah, you can look at the top 2. So the first trigger, you look at it, if it's not a land, you draw to the hand, then second one again. Yeah, and you get to put more lands onto the battlefield, so why not? And then of course Rune Crab. This is sort of like a addition to like just spike people, because it has a bit of a mill mechanic, and if I have 2, whenever I actually put a land down, opponent mills 6 cards, so why not? And then of course this is another mana dog. Not really mana dog, I mean it's 3 mana to cast this, but hey, if I can actually create 2 copies of a unicorn and it can tap for any mana color, why not? And then of course we have Fibotip, the Lost. So when it's actually cast, it will draw a card. Yeah, so it will actually do the same trigger. It will actually trigger twice, so you will have 2 mana for 2 cards, so why not? Okay, Fleet Swallower is another one that I like to add in just for the fun of it. So it can actually reduce people's deck by half, by the way. So it can actually just eat up people's decks. and another one that is sort of like a mana ram, I guess, land ram, yeah, land ram, and you can create 2 of these creatures, so why not? And then we have another draw mechanic, sky scanner. So same thing, if you cast 3, you'll have a copy of it, and then you will draw 2 cards. And yeah, this is one that I really like. Okay, so Hornet Queen. So whenever we cast Hornet Queen, it will actually put out 4 1/1 green insect creature token, and then of course with this, it will copy itself, and you'll create another Hornet Queen, and it will cast another 4. So basically, you'll actually have a total of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm testing my own maths. Total of 10 creatures with Death Touch. 7 mana, 10 creatures with Death Touch. Why not, man? Yeah. And then we have Sculpt Goliath. For this one, we can actually exile creature cards from my graveyard. So I think it's not too bad. 6 mana for 6/9, and then after that you can remove graveyard cards that you don't want to be there, so that you can actually copy creatures, so why not? Deep Forest Hermit, also another one that has a lot of potential in terms of copying. So if let's say it's been copied, so it's actually 5 mana, and then you create a total of 8 squirrels, and of course 2 of this Deep Forest Hermit, and this adds +1/+1 to all squirrels. So basically your squirrels will be all +2/+2, so you technically create 8 3/3 creature tokens. So I think it's not too bad, yeah, not too bad. And then of course we have Mere Battle Spear. So same thing, when you cast this, you'll create another 4 Mere creature token. On top of that, you'll create itself again, and then you'll do the same thing, and yeah, for 7 mana for that arrangement. Okay, and then of course at the bottom it says that whenever Mere Battle Spear attack, you may tap X untapped Mere creatures you control. If you do, Mere Battle Spear gets +X/+0, so you can actually bump up this guy when he's actually attacking. Okay, and then of course we have Asico's Chariot. So for this one, unfortunately, it doesn't really copy itself or anything, because it's just artifact technically, alright, but it can create creature tokens. So I like the fact that it can create creature tokens, and also it can copy target creature token that I control. So technically, if I have a very big token, I can actually copy it whenever I attack. Yeah, so why not, right? And then of course Gleeman Bun, one of the best boys. I like him because he can actually do creature sacrificial. He's like a sack outlet basically, yeah. So I can sack certain creatures, and then I'll get value out of it, so why not? And I can copy it, and I'll have 2 sack outlets. And then we have Green Dragon. So Green Dragon is good because of the fact that if let's say when it enters the battlefield, all the creatures that I have Death Touch. So it's either you block them and you die, or you don't block them and you die. Simple as that. Yeah. Okay, and then we have Mind Flayer. Same thing, I took this because of the fact that it's a different creature type. But of course, it does have some good mechanics with regards to it. So it can actually gain control of a target creature when I control him. So basically, if let's say I copy this, I can control 2 creatures. Yeah, alright. Alright, and then of course we have Genesis. Genesis is actually also a creature, and it's an incarnation. Same thing, I can copy this as well. And with regards to this, I can actually bring creature cards from my graveyard to my hand when this is actually in the graveyard. So yeah, sure, why not, man? Yeah, and I can actually cast them again. So Swing Bloom Druid. So this one, when it enters the battlefield, I sacrifice a land. It's a land ram technically, similarly. So when it enters, I sacrifice a land. I'll put 2 lands onto the battlefield. And when it copies, I have another one, and you'll do the same. So, wow. And of course, Reefworm. This one, no need to say, you can create 2 of the Reefworm, and then after that, if it dies, it will create another 3/3 fish token, and so on and so forth. And of course, it does have to work with a sack outlet. So I do actually have a sack outlet, which is the Ofe. Yeah. Alright, and that sums up the deck tech of the Volo Guide to Monster deck of mine. Leave in the comments down below if, let's say, you like to see more of these kind of deck techs. I do actually have quite a fair bit of decks with me, so I can actually still continue to go on for more of this. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and sorry for the lighting. I'm still trying out this setup, so I'm not too sure whether you guys can see them properly. Yeah. Alright, thank you so much for watching.